these circumstances, but then he shifts his vernacular, he shifts his focus, and he says, it was about they, but now I need to talk to you. Y'all all right? Now I need to talk to you about a few things. I need to talk to you about the fact that this life that you are about to embark upon is not going to be an easy life. This life that you are about to embark on is not going to be full of roses and posies, and you're not going to be skipping through the meadow, holding hands all the time, talking about, oh, how I love Jesus. And sometimes it's going to get a little bit difficult. Sometimes it's going to get a little bit challenging. Sometimes your feelings are going to get hurt. Sometimes they're going to say things about you that aren't true. Sometimes you're going to want to give up, but you need to understand that this is nothing you knew. You need to understand that this is nothing that's just happening to you, but this is something that happens to everybody that decides to become a follower of Jesus Christ. So if you believe that this thing that we're engaged in is for the faint of heart, then you've got another thing coming. It is not for the faint of heart, but I promise you it's worth every piece of pain, every piece of tribulation, every trial, and everything that you go through is worth it. It's worth it because there is reward on the other side for those that are able to endure the things that come with being a disciple of Jesus Christ. The fact that we go through the things that we go through, the way that we should go through them, is part of what sets the stage for the power of our testimony. Amen. Amen. We're going to go through by sheer virtue of the fact that we are living on this earth. Amen. The difference is not that we go through, it's how we go through. How we go through is what sets the stage for the power of our testimony. Just because you're a Christian don't mean that you might not lose your job.
That's right.
Just like your neighbor, just like your friend. The difference is not the fact that you lost your job. The difference is how you go through losing your job. Y'all understand where I'm coming from? You're going to suffer loss just like everybody else. It's not the fact that you suffer loss. It's how you endure that loss that sets the stage for your testimony. Y'all all right? The problem is that oftentimes because we don't attack, we don't approach our trials and tribulations as a disciple should, that there is an inability for the world to see a difference between how you deal with stuff and how they deal with stuff. So if you're going to deal with stuff the same way that they deal with stuff, then
there's no motivation to come.
Then what is the benefit to me to doing what you're doing? What is the benefit to me of doing what you're doing if you are going through and addressing your problems the same way that I address my problems? So if you don't address your problems with prayer, but you address your problems with pornography, then what is the difference? Y'all understand where I'm coming from? If you don't address your problems in faith, but you address your problems with grumbling and complaining, then what is the difference? If you don't address your problems on your knees, but you address your problems with your fists, then what is the difference? Y'all understand where I'm coming from? Is that it's not the fact that we go through, but it's how we go through that sets the stage for the power of our testimony. So a lot of times people don't believe, not because they don't think that God is real, but because you don't show them that God is real by the way that you go through. You see, they can't see God, but what they can see is the God in you. Y'all all right? Now when he says, blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you, you shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. If ain't nobody lying on you, then you might not be doing enough. If ain't nobody hating on you, then that means that you just going along to get along. If ain't nobody got nothing to say about you, that means that you are blending in just a little too good. Y'all understand where I'm coming from? Is that if people are that comfortable around you to the fact that you don't make them uncomfortable? You understand? Y'all remember the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
Yeah.
And how the Chaldeans had to come and hate on them because their righteousness highlighted the unrighteousness of everybody else. Y'all understand where I'm coming from? And so we ought to be functioning in such a way that from time to time, somebody got something to say about you. So rather than complaining, everybody always hating on me, you need to say, thank God, somebody's hating on me. Y'all get it? Because it means that I'm living in such a way that I'm making other people uncomfortable. Y'all get it? To the point that they have to disrupt my flow. Because I'm disrupting their flow. Does that make sense? So he says, rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. If they persecute you, be happy, because you're in good company. You're in good company. If it happened to them, and if it happened to those that we revere and admire, and the same thing is happening to me, it means that I must be doing something right. Y'all all right? It means I must be doing something right. Now, here's the interesting thing, is that when we look at verse number 13, we never connected to verses 11 and 12. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. We go quick to 13. But contextually, the connection is 11 through 16, not 13 through 16. Y'all get it? Contextually, that's the connection. So when he's talking about you, when he says you are the salt of the earth, the you doesn't start in verse number 13, but it starts in verse number 11. Y'all get it? The you starts in verse number 11, so it gives a whole new understanding to this passage when you start the you at verse number 11 instead of in verse number 13. Because it's cute when we start at verse number 13, but it's difficult when we start at verse number 11. Y'all get it? It's real cute when you jump in at 13. I'm the light of the world. I'm the salt of the earth. I'm the light of the world. Look at me, look at me. It's simple there because it doesn't demand anything difficult. Y'all get it? It doesn't demand anything difficult when you jump in the you at verse number 13. But when you jump in at number 11, in the you that is talked about in 13 is a you that is enduring tribulation and slander and all these things. Now it ain't so cute. It's not as cute when you jump in at verse number 11 because it means that I'm going to have to go through some things in order to be what Jesus is declaring me to be. Maybe the fuel for my saltiness is my persecution.
Right, that's right. Amen.
Maybe the oil in my lamp to be the light of the world is slander.
Light me up now. Come on.
Y'all get it? He says sometimes the thing that makes you effective is the thing that causes you the most pain.
There it is. Say that, STACY.
But if you don't deal with the persecution and the pain in faith, then you might not be as salty as you claim to be. Your light might not burn as bright as you profess that it does. Because you have a verse 13 understanding of what it means instead of a verse number 11 understanding of what it means.
Get it all. Get all.
So I believe that we're called in this text to be two things.
Yes, we are.
And I'm going to walk through it. Y'all got time for this?
Come on, bring it, preacher.
I believe that we're called to be two things. There'll be several subpoints underneath these, but I want you to write these down to start. He makes a declaration, you are. Then he makes a declaration twice. You are salt. You are light. You are salt. You are light. And then he goes on to describe some attributes underneath each of those things. Two things I want you to write down is that you need to be vigorous.
Teach it.
And you need to be visible.
Teach it, sir. You got to show up.
You need to be vigorous and you need to be visible. So when he says in verse number 13, you are the salt of the earth. But if salt
Look out now.
loses
Come on, something.
its saltiness,
Uh-oh.
wherewith shall it be salted? Or how does it become salty again? At that point, it's good for nothing but to be cast out and walked on under the feet of men. First of all, you are is a declaration. It's not about what you're becoming. It's about what you are right now. Sometimes we spend too much energy
Come on, preacher.
trying to become
One in it.
what Jesus has already declared us to be.
Already got it. Teach it, son. Already got it.
We spend too much time trying to become
Try it.
what Jesus has already declared us to be.
Teach it.
Maybe if we started functioning in what we are,
Okay? Come on. Come on.
rather than ignoring the fact that he's already declared us to be that thing.
Yeah, it's done.
Come on now.
At some point, you have to get it in your mind that you are something.
Yes. You are something.
Y'all been watching me over the course of this last year or so, year and a half or so, on this weight loss journey. Went from 217 pounds, really about 225 pounds. But when I started, I was about 217, but I had gone up to 225, come down to 217 when I got serious.
Got real.
Went from 217, Jeremy, my lowest has been 187. 30 pounds, right? 30 pounds. But in my mind,
Come on now.
sometimes I still function like I'm at 217. Y'all get it? My 217 clothes don't fit. I don't eat like I ate when I was 217. But in my mind, Felicia, sometimes I'm still 217. Y'all get it? So when people say certain things to me, rather than me embracing who I am right now, y'all get it? I react as if I'm 217, real sensitive. Why you say that? What do you mean? You see something I don't see? Y'all, you understand where I'm coming from? I have yet to mentally embrace the difference. So even though I am surpassing my goal, I'm there. In my mind, I haven't embraced and accepted it. Come on now, y'all. I need y'all to see this. So I can't fully function in what I am right now because I have not embraced it in my mind. So the fact that Jesus Christ went to the cross, that he can now sit and declare, you are. You can't accept it. Come on now, y'all. Because you can't embrace the fact that how can it be that Jesus is able to declare me something without necessarily feeling it here? Well, you're functioning too much on your feeling and not enough on your faith. It's not based on what you see, it's based on what he says. So if he says you are, then you need to stand up and say, I am. I am. I'm not becoming.
Right.
I'm not hoping. I'm not wishing. I stand up and declare because Jesus said that I am. If we had a church filled with more I am type people.
I am.
Come on, Stacy.
I am, preacher.
He says you are. He says you are the salt
Already.
of the earth. First of all,
Come on.
that don't make no sense.
Come on now.
Because salt is not for the earth.
Come on now.
But salt does have particular properties. But I need you to see this.
Come on, preacher. Bring it.
When he says you are, he's not talking about individuals. He's talking about, and that's not singular, it's plural.
Yep.
You are. So a better rendering would mean all of you.